Hello, welcome back to the Draw, a Fairway to Green podcast. And we have to start the week off talking with another national open. Over on the Ladies European Tour, we had the Women's Australian Open, and that was won by Hannah Green. She is an Australian. Like we've talked about this many times before. There's something about golfers winning in their home country. She becomes the first Australian woman to win this event since 2014.
Yeah, no LPGA event last week, so Hannah Green said, "I'll go play my national open." It's the Ladies European Tour and the Australian WPGA, so pretty much yeah, I feel like it was an easy decision for her to decide to play. She's playing again this week, um, but she didn't have her caddy for her win on the she won on the LPGA Tour 3 weeks ago, the beginning of March. Didn't have her caddy; she had her husband on the bag. I'm not sure if that was the case this week, but. Another victory for Hannah Green. She, as we mentioned a few weeks ago, she changed, kind of made some changes to her swing at the end of the year last year, October, November, and put a new putter in the bag. So good thing, I guess. Whatever she did, certainly is working, and hopefully continues to work for Hannah Green.
Yeah, and then Cassie Porter, fellow Australian, ends up shooting the course record on Sunday to finish in a T2 position. So again, yeah, like you said, no LPGA event, so go play in your home country and go win. And look at that. I mean, yeah, two wins early on in the seasons has to feel good for Hannah. On the PGA Tour this week, we had do we want to I don't want to call it the fifth major. People call it the fifth major. Or we're just gonna go with the Players Championship. Cameron Young picking up his second career PGA Tour win with dramatic fashion. Yeah, it's we're gonna start with your pick of the week, Ludvig Åberg, who looked completely in control for pretty much since Friday mid-round during his second round to the 11th hole on Sunday, and he made two terrible swings that cost him the golf tournament.
Yeah, my pick was obviously Ludvig Åberg, and I was feeling very good. 54 holes in, the guy he looks very in control, up by 3 shots going into Sunday, and then all of a sudden on the back nine, 11 puts one in the water, and then 12 puts another one in the water. 12 was arguably worse. That one was just a snap little toe hook, something that you see out of me, a 12 handicap on the weekends. So not something you'd see out of a golfer with the quality that Ludwig Åberg has, and it happens to everyone. Though the last 3 weeks you saw Shane Lowry fumble at the end. That was definitely a little bit more egregious sell to lose the tournament. And then who was it?
Daniel Berger last week, kind
Yes,
of
Daniel Berger. But that wasn't necessarily him playing
no.
poorly. It was just Akshay playing out of his mind. So this week another back nine, not class, but lost. And then it was good to see Cameron Young win. I was on the edge of my seat watching because I'm a huge Cameron Young fan, and Matthew Fitzpatrick. Maybe a little. I was a little. Maybe I'm still a little annoyed about the Ryder Cup, but that's having to make putts from all over the course, but I didn't necessarily want to see him win. I'd rather Cameron Young win. I'm very happy about the outcome.
Yeah, I mean, Fitzy, he took control. Once Oberg hit it in the water, Fitzy took control, made I think it was three birdies and four holes, and it's like, oh, he's just gonna win. And again, he's been really good the last year, and hit a poor drive on 16 and just couldn't make birdie there. 17
Just
finds the
conservative, just middle
finds
of the
yeah,
green.
but again, you have a one shot lead for the players. Like that's the shot you hit. Like he executed
Mhm.
the shot you're supposed to hit.
Yeah,
Cameron
make Cameron
Young,
Young make a birdie on
yeah.
17 and
And he
18.
did. I mean, Cameron Young hit a great shot. He got the slope. Fitz didn't, makes the birdie. And then 18 is kind of where you can say where, yeah, Young had the advantage with hitting a drive 375 yards. I mean,
That
the
was insane.
longest drive on that hole in the ShotLink era, which is 2003. So again, it's not even Fitzy hit a bad drive. Like he said afterwards, he hit a good drive. It's just it ran through the fairway and he missed a makeable par putt, which he was making all week. And yeah, I mean, for Young, it's just kind of confirmation of how good he's been since winning the Wyndham at the end of the year last year. He was easily the best American there at Bethpage.
Hmm.
And yeah, just to win here is, again, we can call it the fifth major, but it was a tough course. The wind was blowing. Again, he's played well. He has his two other top 10 finishes this year. And For Cam Young, it's like, okay, now he's up to fourth in the world. Like, he's gonna be a betting favorite at Augusta, I would assume, if not the favorite, because I don't think Scotty can be the favorite the way he's been playing lately. Rory with this back thing is concerning. Morikawa, who's played well, he had to withdraw with a back injury. So right now, like Cam Young is probably up there. I'm sure if you look, he's not the favorite right now. But for me, heading into it about a month out from there, if he had a high finish, he's played well there before, would not be shocking at all. Xander
Mhm.
Schauffele makes birdie. I think it was three of the last four holes. He gets into the third place finish. So another American who's kind of rounding the form. I don't know if you saw this. I thought this was funny. Someone tweeted it out. I think it was around the 11th or 12th hole. Cam Young was the only American. It was like Fitzpatrick, Åberg,
Mhm.
McIntyre. I think Fleetwood was up there. I think
Yeah,
Straka
the
was
Ryder
up
Cup
there.
flashbacks. I
Yeah,
saw that
and it
one.
was just like Young in the middle. I'm like, oh no. And as someone had a funny tweet, it was like, Team Europe has Cam Young surrounded. I'm like, oh, this, and then he's the one who pulls out and wins. I mean, again, he's become a legitimately great putter. I mean, I forget, I can't remember the stat they said after, but between 4 to 7 feet, he didn't have a miss all week. I mean, a year ago at the beginning of last year, you say Cam Young's not a good putter. He's an average putter, and he's legitimately one of the best putters. And then you add someone who can drive a ball 375 yards on the most difficult closing hole on the PGA Tour and give himself a flip wedge in. I mean, if he wins two or three more times this year, doesn't shock me. Sign me up for Cam Young hitting drives over at Adair Manor next year at the Ryder Cup and this year in the
Mhm.
President's Cup, because he is arguably has been one of the best American players in the last 6 months.
Yeah. As I said earlier, as a Cameron Young fan, it has been a little bit. I wouldn't say a little, actually a little bit disappointing the last few years. We've seen the flashes, we've seen the talent from Cameron Young. It seems, for a few tournaments every year, Cameron Young is up there. You see Eagles, all the talent, but hasn't really got it done. And we saw it at the Ryder Cup at Bethpage how he was the best American player like on the team. It's like pretty not egregious to say that. And so I saw a stat. I don't remember fully, but it was how Cameron Young's caddy kind of helped him be a better putter. I think he wasn't that great of a putter before his caddy switched to caddy, and he's reading the greens like a madman. And as you said, 4 to 7 feet, didn't miss a putt all week, and that's like Brian Harmon, British Open win kind of stat where he didn't miss inside of 8 feet, or he was like 71 out of 72 like inside of 8 feet for the week. It was a little ridiculous, but yeah, Cameron Young at Augusta National. I would be buying stock in Cameron Young at Augusta National. I don't really know. I'm thinking like Tommy Fleetwood, and I mean you still can't write off Scotty. He still has a few more weeks to come into form, or Akshay Bhatia. That's really the few guys that I'm looking at right now. But yeah.
Yeah, the other thing I want to talk about this golf course is so fun to watch. I just Sunday I turned it on from the time I woke up, and there are so many holes. Like I mean, the first hole is you got to hit a good drive, and then I love the fourth hole where Michael Thorbjornsen kind of just collapsed and hit it into the water, and then all that where it's a 380-yard par four, but you see guys like Åberg and made a bogey on Sunday, and Thorbornson made an eight because he hit it in the water. I mean, if you don't hit a good drive, you're in the rough on one side, the bunker on the other. Phenomenal, just layout of a course. The final three holes have to be the hardest final three-hole stretch on
Hmm.
any tournament anywhere. I mean, Augusta, you have 16, it's a par three, not that hard. 17, okay. 18's a hard drive, but like out of the major courses, like I think nothing really compares to it. I mean, the
Certainly 17
players,
and 18. That's just different sauce right
yeah,
there.
yeah. And then 16 though was a great par five. I mean, you had Cam Young who had a perfect drive. He had a 4 iron in his hand, and he's considering laying up because of how windy it is. And you don't want to, you can't miss right, or he loses the tournament. He was I like if Cam Young lays up, I mean, what are we doing? Like, So it's just a really good the bunker where he ended up having his terrible lie from pulling a 4 iron in there is it's a really exciting golf course and you never know what's going to happen. Especially like you said, Fitz played conservative and hit the middle of the green, but that's what you're supposed to do to win the golf tournament. It's just he didn't win.
Yeah,
Um,
exactly. One more. I would like to talk about one more thing. With the players. I know you probably saw this. Probably gonna talk about it too. But Sudarshan Yellamaraju.
yeah,
He got T5 this week, and he, kind of a guy who popped up out of nowhere. Yeah, I've gonna be honest. I've never heard of him before this
no,
week. He started on the PGA Tour this season, but really never heard of him. And he learned golf on YouTube, watching Rory McIlroy and Tiger Woods swing. So just watching YouTube, and he's fifth place at the Players. He turned professional at 19, and then this week at the Players, he made just 1 week of work. Tied for fifth, $925,000. So
jeez.
a very large payday for
I
him,
did
and
see he
he
withdrew
withdrew.
this
He
week.
and then he withdrew
So
this
it's
week, and
like,
everyone's like, yeah,
yeah,
almost $1 million. I guess you could take a week off to
yeah,
celebrate.
yeah. I did, yeah, that was pretty cool. I think he has one Corn Ferry Tour win, so that was I mean, yeah, it's a course where if you play well, like again, it evens out a field pretty well. I mean, you saw some of the stars up there, right? We saw Fitz and Robert McIntyre finish fourth, and Xander was up there again. But like also like last year, you had JJ Spawn in a playoff before he won the U.S. Open, and you had Bud
Mhm.
Cauley who finished third behind him, Spawn, and McIlroy. So it's a course that if you're a good ball striker and you make some putts, you can be in contention. I mean, Kevin Kisner was in a playoff years ago when Ricky won. So I mean, if Kevin Kisner can win there or be in a playoff, like it's a course that a lot of different people can win. I think that's what makes it so exciting because there's not really a type of golfer that it fits more. I mean, yes, it helps if you're Cameron Young and you can hit the ball 350 yards plus, but again, Fitz is not the bomber he is, and he was there right with him to the end. But it's a great course. It's always a great show of ability, especially when the wind was going and the fans always get into it. The USA chants on the last couple holes. I
I love
mean,
that.
yeah, Fitzy said this is nothing compared to the Beth Page, so he was playing along with it. So that was all great stuff. And the PGA Tour's got to be excited because this is their tournament, right? They don't own one of the majors. They don't own the Ryder Cup. They have the President's Cup, but still, that's not theirs. So again, whether it's a fifth major or not, I whatever. I think if they just can make it as good as they can and have the field as good as it was this week and the course in great setup and shape, I think it's will stand out on this tour schedule no problem.
Yeah, the PGA Tour did a fantastic job this weekend. I honestly don't have any complaints. A little suggestion. This is just me. I don't think anyone's really going to agree with me. I want them to move the tee box on 17 back. I know the hole's already hard enough as it is, but for like one day, I just want to see show like a lot of players. Just granted, it might be unreasonably hard, which I totally get, but like I just want to see them. Just I want to see pros suffer. I guess I have
Yeah,
a
like I mean, plays like I think like 130 to 140. If they push it back to 170 and they're having to hit a 7 iron or 6 iron into the wind, it you're right, it may get unplayable, especially
yeah.
if it's
If it
firm.
bounces
Like
off the back,
you're
yeah.
not
I
gonna.
guess that is
But
tough. Yeah,
I'm
but
the one par three they have. I don't know if it was maybe it was eight. That's like 220. Like enjoyed seeing them hit long irons and
yeah, with
some
the
woods
water on
into
the
that
left, is
too.
that the one with the water on the left?
Maybe I don't know.
It
I think so.
yeah, might
Yeah,
be.
but I mean, I'm all for a long par three and to kind of watch these guys struggle and hit shots. I mean, it will be exciting. I know they announced that they have this new program called Chasing Sunday that is in like partnership with NFL Films that does
I did see
Hard
this.
Knocks. So I think that comes out tonight at 9. And I saw a preview of it was like a minute and a half conversation between Batia and his caddy Joe Griner on the 17th hole about do I hit a chippy nine? Do I hit a full pitching wedge? So I think we're going to get some cool things out of that. Again, I think that drops here at 9. And
Mhm.
or I guess we're recording this Tuesday, so you'll see it. I think it comes out on the NFL Films YouTube Wednesday morning. So go check that out because I'm sure you're going to get some great conversations on club selections and stuff like that as well. On the LPGA Tour this week, they are back in the United States. They haven't been here since the Orlando event, the Hilton Grand Vacations. They have the Fortinet Founders Cup down at Sharon Heights Golf and Country Club. It is a star-studded field, which is nice to see. Again, finally back in the U.S. You get a little more participation, I would imagine, than people having to go travel over and play in the Asian swing. Last year's champion, Yalimi No, is in the field. Again, Gino Titakun's in the field. Nelly Corda's in the field. Lydia Ko's in the field. Who else? Rose Zhang, who's winner here in 2024. Great field. It should be an exciting kickoff or kind of re-kickoff to the LPGA Tour over here in the States this week.
Yeah, aside from I think the first tournament in Asia for the LPGA Tour, the fields, haven't, no disrespect, they haven't been with the top 10 players in the world. Yeah, I think the last tournament on the LPGA Tour, it was the Blue Bay Invitational. There was only one or two players in the top 10 in the field. So it's really nice to see a lot of the players, not most, if not all of them, playing this week in the tournament in California. So my pick for this week. I would love to go. I'm going to go with an American. She has been playing very well. She played well in Asia. I'm going with Austin Kim. She has played in three tournaments this year. She has a T3, a runner up, and a T18. So three top 20 finishes for Austin Kim this season, and I expect her to continue with her strong play.
Yeah, you brought up it's a good field. 20 of the 25 players in the top, or out of the 25 top players in the Rolex rankings are in the field. So again, you could go with Nelly, you could go with Gino, you can go with Minji Lee, Miyu Yamashita. I'm going with a past champion I mentioned earlier, Rose Zhang, who has not played much on the PGA Tour this year. She has one start, and that was at the Hilton Grand Vacations Tournament Champions. She finished T9 again. So not the most starts here. She has one here, so it's a course she has good history at. She's from Stanford. She likes playing in California. So Rose Zhang to pick up her second win at the Fortinet Founders Cup. Over on the DP World Tour, after another week break, the DP World Tour is starting their Asian swing of their schedule at the Hainan Classic. It is the second year of this event. Marco Penge is the defending champion. He will not be in the field. Has his PGA Tour card. He's actually in the field this week at the Valspar Championship, which we'll talk about here in a sec. It's a really cool golf course. I was looking up pictures because, again, China, it's tough to know like what these golf courses are like. I looked up some pictures. It is on a natural volcanic landscape. So if you think back to it's the Utah event the PGA Tour hosts where he kind of has a volcanic rock. It's very similar to that.
Wow, that's really
It's
cool.
yeah, so the views are really cool. At this golf resort in China where they're playing it has 10 golf courses. They're playing on the Blackstone course, which hosted the 2011 World Cup of Golf that Matt Kuchar and Gary Woodland won. So again, pretty new tournament. Again, Francesco Molinari, former major champion, he kind of highlights the field. Not the best field in the world. We have Dan Bradbury who finished second a couple weeks ago or he won the Joburg Open a couple weeks ago. He'll be in the field. You have Nacho Elveria who's played well this year. Freddie Scott who won the BAPCO Energies Bahrain Championship as well. So not the greatest field in the world over on the DP World Tour, but still a good one. My pick this week is Jorge Campillo. He is looking to pick up his fourth career DP World Tour win. He has two top 20 finishes in his last three starts. He is a T36 here at last year's event, so he knows, of course, he's played it, and he's played well the last couple of weeks. So Jorge Campillo, my pick for this event.
So my pick for this week, I'm going with Wen Yi Ding. He is from China, and I didn't know much about him, but I did do some research on Wen Yi Ding, and he did win the Chinese Amateur Open three times in a row, I think from 2019 to 2021. So certainly a very talented golfer, and he has won on the China Tour, yeah, the China Tour, like another separate tour, but yeah, it certainly has a professional win, a few amateur wins. So definitely and likes playing in China, so, obviously. So maybe he gets it done this week.
Yeah, home country, and always there's something different about playing your home country. The last event of the week is the PGA Tour and it is the Valspar Championship. It's another fun golf course. It's the last tournament in Florida, so they're finishing up their Florida swing. Again, it's another good field. Like, we're talking about the LPGA field being really good. This PGA field isn't as good as that one, but you have Victor Hovland, the defending champ. You have Akshay Bhatia, Xander Schauffele, Justin Thomas, just to name a few of the players in the field. Brooks Koepka will also be in the field. He hasn't played there in a while, even before his PJ Tour suspension. You have Adam Hadwin, who's won here before in the field. Blades Brown, so the
Ooh.
18-year-old phenom in the field. Jacob Bridgman, who has just been really good since winning at Riviera a couple weeks ago. So again, we were talking about closing finishes here at Innisbrook. They have the famous Snake Pit. So it is their final three holes of the tournament. Each hole at this course is named after some type of snake, so that's pretty cool. But the Snake Pit is hole 16, 17, 18. It's two really hard par fours, and in the middle of it is just a long par three. Again, this is where JT kind of lost the tournament last year, and Victor Hovland stole it from him. Again, it's not the hardest golf course, but ball strikers will perform really well here. I'm going with one of the better ball strikers on the PGA Tour. He's coming off a T13 finish at the Players Championship. Give me Corey Connors in his last three events here. He has a T16, T21, and T8 finish. Again, Canadian, one of the best ball strikers, has two PGA Tour wins in his career. I'm picking him to pick up his third this week at the Valspar Championship.
Yeah, I saw Corey Connors on the leaderboard quite a bit last weekend, so certainly in great form. I'm going with another guy who I saw on the leaderboard. Granted, it was on Thursday, but I'm going with Sahith Theegala, one of my favorites. Yeah, last week his last round wasn't didn't play very well, but a couple stats for Sahith Theegala this season. He is 125th off the tee in strokes gained, so pretty poor in that category. However, he makes up for it. He's 32nd in approach and 34th in putting, so very good once he gets off the tee. And he has three top tens this season, so he can get it done. And it just takes 1 week where you can find the driver and he's there.
Yeah, he's played well, especially last year coming off the injury, and I think he's another kind of one of the young guys that, oh, if he didn't have this injury, like, could he have been on the Ryder Cup last year? I don't know. But yeah, I think he's good. He's been good at TGL. He's played well here to start on the PJ Tour. And again, I think that driving thing, the kind of the mishitting the drive, I think it will correct himself. He's too good of a player not to. And like you said, it takes one good week driving, and all of a sudden he finds something and sees himself in contention. Before we go here, I did want to talk about Brian Rohrlap. I don't know how much of this kind of State of the Union address you saw that he did at the PGA at the Players Championship last week.
A little bit, yeah.
We're just really quick go over kind of his six main points, his six pillars that he mentioned. The first one was the season structure. That's been all the talk over the last kind of month or two. The playing committee, and they're figuring out what's the best type of schedule. Is it less events, smaller fields, big field? It's just been kind of like, what are we going to do? And he kind of laid out, he goes, they're going to play from January to September. They're targeting right after the Super Bowl play in September, 21 to 26 events. Those events include the four majors in either the President's Cup or the Ryder Cup, depending on the year. So again, you're probably looking at 21 to 22 regular PGA Tour events like the Valspar Championship, the Valero Texas Open down in TPC San Antonio, Cognizant Classic, events like that. Again, don't mind that. I'm sure there would be some type of fall portion as well, but he was more so talking about the normal season. The fields, he's said they are going to get away from the limited field events,
Guys,
so
thank
you're not going to
goodness.
see, yep, which I love. I love the idea of more players. I don't like the limited field events. Give me the more players. I think at the Players Championship this week, there was 123 players, and he said approximately looking at fields of 120 to 130. Again, love that idea.
Great idea.
Don't give me less players. I want more players because it's hard to have a PJ Tour card, and now you're making it harder for the players who have it. Don't
Yeah, we
like that.
saw we saw last year with the whole Ricky Fowler situation with the him benefiting from those limited events. So I think this is the more fair way and a really enjoyable
Yeah, and you're
experience.
gonna get the player like right, Jacob Bridgman. who relatively unknown. He had a good year last year. He goes and wins the Genesis, one of the signature events. Now he's in majors and all that, but he's a good player. Ben Griffin was the same way. He was kind of out of nowhere, wins an event, and then plays his way into the signature events. I like more stories like that is what I want as a viewer. The
Exactly.
third one, starting big, which I don't really know how this is a pillar. Like his thing was they're going to start big at an iconic West Coast venue. And they kind of started big with the tournament champions, in my opinion. I loved going down to Kapalua and watching that golf tournament in Hawaii. So again, maybe whether it's starting big, maybe it's starting big at Pebble Beach, maybe it's at Riviera, Torrey Pines, Cypress. Like I don't maybe they're thinking
That would be pretty
along the
sweet.
lines like that, right? Like I don't know. But okay, that one was like, all right, that's not that big of a deal to me. They don't need to start at an iconic venue.
Yeah.
I will watch if they go play TPC Scottsdale. Like I guess that's iconic in its own way, but like still, I don't know.
I would argue that the start they have this season already is pretty big venues anyway, so I don't know what how much it's really gonna change. They
Exactly.
exact yeah.
The other one was they're going to try to get in more big markets, which I am a fan of this one. I'm biased. I know you go to school in New York. I live in New York. I don't think they come to the Northeast enough. Again,
Hmm.
we had one of the I think they had the playoff events here before. They had the Northern Trust down at Liberty National in New York City. They had TPC Boston a couple years ago too, and they do events, but they're trying to target more bigger cities. So they're going to try to get
Yeah.
in bigger TV markets.
Mhm.
So Chicago, Boston, New York. You mentioned Washington D.C. as
Yeah.
one. So I
That's
do like
huge.
that.
Yeah,
Is
I
there?
as someone who lives in DC or lived in DC pretty much my entire life, I go back there on breaks, summer break, and there is no like there was the Wells Fargo in 2020, I think 2022 at TPC
Yeah,
Potomac, and that was
that's
kind of the
right.
last that was kind of like the last really but they have tournaments at Caves Valley near Baltimore, but that's
Yeah,
pretty far away. But there's many great courses in Northern Virginia, Maryland, near DC that you can have tournaments at. You've got Congressional there, of course. It's
yeah.
majors.
Give me
I'd like,
Meriden. Like that's
yes,
more Chicago, Illinois, but
they've got Trump National, also RTJ. So there's some really nice courses that you can play in Northern Virginia or Maryland, and I would love to go to a PGA Tour event. Not more often than I have the opportunity to. So
yeah, I mean they he also mentioned Philadelphia and again they are going to Aronimink Golf Club this year for the PJ
yes.
Championship. Last year they were at Philly Cricket Club for the Truist Championship because Quail Hollow was hosting the PGA. So again, those are just two really good golf courses. I'm really excited to see Aronimink here and I think it's in 2 months. So again, one of the I think that's cool, get into bigger markets, get into some cooler golf courses that we haven't seen in a while. The other one is kind of they're talking about promotion relegation. So they have 8 signature events now. His goal is to increase it to 16, but bigger fields, and that'll kind of be the first track, and then there will be a second track that you can ladder up and play well enough to get into those first track, those signature events. So he compared it to the European soccer and relegation, and I don't mind that. I think it gives players a reason to play maybe a little more. But they have to make sure like they're doing it correctly. Like I don't need some gimmicky thing that throws everything off. Like all of a sudden, like, oh, I didn't play well these 3 events and now I get relegated. So that'll be interesting. I'm sure there are
Mhm.
a whole bunch of kinks and like tweaks they need to make to it to make it um stable and like worked out well so it works well. Because if it doesn't, then it really won't. And I think the players won't like it if it isn't something that isn't easy to understand and easy for them to move up to the next track, we'll say.
Yeah, I don't know how that's gonna work. I would just like to see kind of how it starts out and then see where it goes from there. I like the idea of promotion relegation. It rewards people who play well, and then guys who don't play well, that's how it goes. So, uh, I like the sounds of it, but I'd obviously have to see more of it to know what's really fully going on. And I'd like it to be easy to understand because I'm not trying to do math and figure things out on a week to week basis on who got finished 60th and is not going to play next week in the signature event. So
I agree, yeah, because I mean, they have the things like the Aeon Next 5 and the Aeon Swing 10. Like, those are a little confusing in itself of like, oh, I need to make sure who are the top 5 FedEx Cup winners from these 4 events to get in them. So, like you said, if they can make it easier for us to understand, that will make it great. the last thing, and I think maybe my favorite point he made is enhancing the postseason. He said that they're
Yes.
looking into match play for
Finally.
possibly all three events, which I was like, okay, three events may be a little
Yeah,
much.
I that's a
If it's
lot.
one event, like the final one at the Tour Championship, whether it's still at East Lake, like I wouldn't mind if they move the Tour Championship from course to course, like a major. I understand that East Lake probably has some type of contract that they have to play there, but I'm all for it. Again, it has to be a correctly done. Like I don't know if they could do it how it was the Dell Technologies match play down at Austin Country Club. I don't know if they would pick that type of same format where it's like round robin for
Yeah, it
the
was like their
first.
March
Yeah.
Madness tournament
Yeah,
kind of
so
thing.
I don't know if it's going to be like that. I don't know if it's as simple as the first player in the FedEx Cup player plays the 32nd ranked player in the FedEx Cup and they go like that. However it is, I think the match play would be really cool. I know people are going to be like, well, I want to see Scotty and Rory go at him. Like, well, it may not happen. It may only happen if they switch the match play. It may only happen once in our lifetime, those two actually face
Mhm.
off for it. But again, I'm fine with it. I don't need to see those two go at it all the time. Like, give me Scotty Scheffler and a Cinderella run guy. Like,
Mhm.
I don't even know. Like Taylor Pendrith versus Scotty Scheffler for the tour. Like something like that would be really cool. I think the storylines behind it. Again, March Madness is starting up this weekend, and when a Cinderella or someone gets upset, one of the bigger schools gets upset, like that's the talk of social media. So I think it would be cool to see someone beat Scotty or someone beat Rory, who's relatively unknown.
Yeah, I love the match play format. I've been saying this for a few years. I think these guys, they come up through college and junior golf, and what do you play in those in high school and in college, especially in those in the playoffs, you play match play. And then seemingly once you get to professional golf, it goes away. And I I think these players that thrive in these match play formats, they should be able to showcase these skills. It's a different time. It's a totally completely different kind of golf. You're more focused on winning the hole. You're playing against one guy rather than stacking scores across the whole day. And I love the match play. I would love to see Scotty Scheffler, the no, world number one. I don't think he's first place in the FedEx Cup. I think Cameron Young is, but or yeah, I think
I think it's
or
Jacob
Jacob Bridgman.
Bridgman.
Yeah,
It's
Jacob
Jacob
Bridgman.
Bridgman
Yes,
right now, which
yes,
is
Jacob
good for
Bridgman,
him.
who is the number one in the FedEx Cup. I'd like to see him play against 32nd guy who's earned the right to play in the final in hopefully at East Lake. So I would love to see that, and I'm very happy that these changes might that are being considered because the format. I know they changed it recently. It was the whole starting strokes thing, 10 under, that
Yeah.
kind of thing. That was terrible. It took them a little too long to figure that out. But now they start them all even, which is very nice. How Tommy Fleetwood won last year, and now hopefully no, now this changed. So I'm happy to see the PGA Tour kind of learning and listening from people, and making some positive changes for the tour.
I think he's doing the right thing and he was very transparent. He goes, if I don't know an answer, like I will let you know and we'll get someone and we'll work on it. So he said they're going to be working on it the next couple months. The next time he's going to talk is at the Travelers Championship. So we may learn more details then. But I think they're going in the right direction. I know they have the players committee that Tiger Woods is on and Tiger's all about it and working to help kind of the tour in any way they can to make it the best for the players. It'll be interesting to see what they finally come up with, and who knows, maybe we won't get the full details in June at the Travelers, but if we can get a little more set in stone, kind of what events they are, what's the first track and second track, and all that. But I thought the direction is good, and I like the idea of bigger fields, maybe less events, so the more players playing them. Again, I want to see the best players play, and if there's so many events right now, like they can't play in them all. So we got to make sure they can play, and we want the best players to play. He's coming from the NFL. He wants to give the viewers the best product they can, and I think some of these things he was talking about, I think they will improve our kind of watching and viewing experience. All right, enjoy the golf this week again. LPGA, DP World Tour, PGA. We'll be back here next week to kind of discuss all that went on and any more updates. Again, go check us out, fairtogreen.com. Check out our articles. We have the preview articles that are coming out for these events. And again, as a review articles as well. And go check out our YouTube. Again, subscribe, give us a review on wherever you get your podcasts. Enjoy the golf this weekend.